guys. We got a big NBA slate today, and we need it. A little bit of a rough day yesterday. Big rough day yesterday. No way to sugarcoat it. Couple of big bets on the Knicks. Didn't stand a chance the way the Bucks shot the ball. And then just to top off the icing on the cake, the Suns last night taking two. They were within two. They get the bullshit timeout from LeBron, and we don't get the chance to cover there. So tough way to go last night. We'll say credit to LeBron. Part of his success in the league is his IQ, calling the timeout across the court where the other ref can't see the ball. That's just an IQ move, and it sucks to be on the other side of it. But, hey, taking the numbers there, that's where we were, John. And we got a big slate today to try to start getting it back.
Yeah. Oh, we got a long way to go. Again, as Ben said, no way to sugarcoat it. It's been absolutely brutal. I understand we have the little mutiny going on in the chat, guys. We'll get there in a second. First, let me discuss last night. Again, we don't cry. LeBron got the timeout. I actually put on my IG story. Just look at the game that this guy came with last night. This is the oldest player in the NBA.
Ridiculous.
First Laker with 30-plus points, 10-plus assists, 5+ rebounds, 5+ steals since Magic Johnson, 1987. 40 minutes.
Ridiculous.
Look, for the LeBron haters out there, is he a crier? Yeah, he's a crier, a flopper. He's all of that. It's cold work on the refs. You do what you got to do. It's what he is he's a winner. So did they get a timeout that they shouldn't have? Absolutely. Do bad calls happen every day? Yeah, they do. No. And we're just on the wrong side of it last night. Now, as far as the other game, the Knicks came in allowing the fewest points per game in the NBA. Randall scored over 40. If you would have told me that, I probably the word lock might have came out of my mouth before last night's game. Just a ridiculous. The Milwaukee Bucks shot over 60%. Not just from the field, but from three.
Yeah.
I don't know that you could do that in video games. I don't know. Not a video game guy myself, but it's just one of those games. Chalk it up and move on. What I will say, I give all the guys in my chat the room to say what, especially when we're on a losing streak. I can guarantee that there is nobody in my chat that has lost more money than I have in this recent run. Now, with that being said, again, give you all the room to rant and whatever. Don't lie. We took 6 on the Knicks. The game closed 4.5. Now, to the squares, that don't mean nothing. Did you win the game? I get it, okay? Anybody with a clue, just realize. And that's why he says, I get guys already, you get given refunds. I'm not giving any refunds. I live up to my end of the bargain every single day. I put my hours of work in. We beat the number. Now, if you guys think there's a better way to go about it, I understand. Many other people to follow. You don't have to follow. But again, we do what we do. We got 3 games today. We beat the number on the 3 games we bet today. I'm in this business over 40 years, and I'm not talking about selling picks on Instagram. I'm in this business both as a book, a big-time major book, and as a player that moved the lines across the world. I'm in this business over 40 years. One way to beat the game in a long-term basis,
no,
that's by beating the number. And if you're not, you're just guessing. Again, I get it. Losing sucks. Nobody hates it worse than I do. I can tell you that. But if you continually beat the number, you've got to beat the game again. And we've been saying it's mathematical. It will come. It just can't. This is my worst fucking streak in my life. I got to say it, and especially in NBA. This is a game that every half point matters because any number could fall. It's not your NFL where it's a 3 or a 7 are more likely to fall. Any number could fall. So every half point you beat is another edge that you get. That being said, just not falling. We'll see how it goes back. But again, we'll do all the same thing. There's one guy in the chat, make the unit smaller. Look, guys, you can make the unit smaller on your own. You can make the units 0. You could fade my bets if I'm going. You can do whatever you want. I tell you guys the game I bet, at what number I bet it at, and how many units I'm betting on the game. You guys could do whatever you feel right. As far as the try that mob mentality in the chat, just give it a rest. You only make yourself sound foolish. If I bet the Knicks plus 4.5 and the game closed 6, you got a beef. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and I stole your money. It's not the case. This is what I've been doing for over 40 years, and we'll continue to do so. So as I said, 3 games today. We don't stop. We just work that much harder. We just keep nose to the grindstone and keep working. 3 games today. We bet 2 of the games 2 days ago when they initially put the numbers up. So if you got somebody that can do that, then you can follow them. Or again, if you don't think beating the number means anything, then like I said, you could just go and pay somebody to give you the biggest favorites on the board for their money lines and bet money lines. Anyway, we're back at it today. I like our card today. With this has to end. Has to end at some fucking point. It just can't keep going this pace. Just as the NFL, when we were at a 70-something% clip, couldn't continue to go that well. Same thing with the NBA, especially if you're beating the numbers. So we hope today is that day that we start turning it around. But again, last night, no good. Not going to cry over didn't get a timeout call, or hey, it's LeBron. I've lived through the Michael Jordan rules. There were different rules for MJ than there were for everybody else. It's going to be the same thing for LeBron. Yeah. That's kind of figured in the numbers, though. That's kind of figured in the stats. But what I will do, like I said, tip the cap to this guy, oldest guy in the NBA.
Have to.
And first in-season tournament, whatever. They wanted it. They went and got it. We went into these 2 games just one more time. For guys that aren't members, we told you guys about this. That may be catching the show for the first time. So KD and Booker have played 9 games together, and they were 7-2 going into those games. We felt they were going into LA with double revenge. Now, being they've lost both games this year, but Booker hadn't played neither game. So
5 now.
What's that, Ben?
Saying it's 5 now. I think that's a little bit of starting to become ownership a little bit.
I'm still not going to call it ownership. They've won they won last night by 3. They won by 5 in LA early in the year with no Booker, and they won by 3 in Phoenix, again, with no Booker. So don't know how much ownership I want to call it. The last 2 last year, Booker missed also one of them, and then one game, I think they sat everybody. To me, I just like the fact that Phoenix was going in there 7-2, and Lakers just hadn't been playing good ball. They just come back off their trip. They got absolutely buried the last game of the trip at OKC, then did beat a Houston team, but Houston was in a bad spot in that particular game because they had demolished the Lakers earlier in the season in Houston, so they had a little revenge going for that one. As far as the Knicks game, just look at the Knicks last few games and the Bucks last few games, and you could see the Knicks were just trending, covering, especially on the road. Did a dynamite job up in Toronto. Their last road game, Milwaukee struggled. They win, but didn't cover against the Wizards. Lose outright in overtime at Chicago without Levine and DeRozan. So this is basketball. We get our edge. We took 6. The line closed 4.5. What that means is other sharp guys took 5.5 and 5. Squares don't move the line. If they did, the squares, I can assure you, did not bet the Knicks. So, again, my promise is, as always, we're going to put you on the sharp side at the sharp number. That's all I can promise. Again, no crystal ball that gives me any winners. We're going to bet with an edge. We're going to continue to bet with an edge. And, guys, the rest is up to you. Love to have you as members. I would bet a fucking hot streak is right around the corner because you really can't get as cold as we've been. Maybe we're like at 33% right now for the NBA season. It's been that ugly. It's impossible to continue that way. I myself have the resources to bet more. I will be. I can't. You never want to go into a cold streak but this cold streak has to end. I'm not telling you to do that. My units are going to stay the same, but I'm replenishing my bankroll. Anyway, let's go from there, Ben. Let's get this NBA start cooking, unless you want to add some stuff to last night's fiascos.
Yeah, just saying for the guys who are members in the chat. I mean, obviously our long-term guys, obviously it's been a bit of a cold streak, but it's really just putting a dent into house money that's already been accumulated throughout the year, money made in MLB and the NFL season. So you're still playing house money. Definitely not fun losing money we've already made, but that's what's going on with that. And to our newer guys, hang tight. I mean, sucks you come on the losing streak, but that's just how it goes sometimes. And we look at betting 12 months a year. So hopefully you don't just catch a couple of the cold ones and miss all the green ones about to come. Let's dive into this NBA card for what is about to come. Hopefully we can start swinging some our direction. First game on the card, Magic at Cleveland. Magic snapped the 9-game win streak, get crushed at Brooklyn the other day. Then you have this Cavs team who's been playing a little bit better, getting a little bit healthier. They won at Detroit the other night. LeVert, though, he's still going to miss. Their struggles, just not covering. 3-3 straight up, 1-5 against the spread. Their last 6 was absolute lights out at home last year. Right now, just 3-7-1 against the spread. Cavs have owned this matchup, but obviously Magic playing a lot better basketball this season. So lean to Orlando catching points against the Cavs team not covering. But they're due for a little bit of regression. We saw them on the big 9-game win streak. They already had that first loss to Brooklyn. And is it not only just, regression on the win streak, but also road regression specifically? We saw something very similar to Houston. Houston, great win streak at home, go on the road. They still haven't won a road game. They ended up covering a few of those games, but could be something similar for Orlando here.
Yeah, Orlando 9-2 their last 11 games, both losses at Brooklyn. Other than that, a perfect 9-0. They'll go to Cleveland. Cavs have won 6 of their last 7, and all 4 last year by a combined 50 points. Little bit of a different Orlando team. Orlando stepping up their game, and Cleveland just hasn't gotten back to where they were last year. Looks like the Knicks just took something out of this team in the playoffs. They were sailing as one of the better teams last year going into the playoffs. Anyway, this number to me at 4, solid number with LeVert out. I don't have anything on this one, but Cleveland needs to step up their game. Since Mitchell's come back, they just haven't been right. They've been dealing with a ton of injuries. Allen was out to start the season. Garland in and out of the lineup. Then now recently it's been Mitchell. Again, we always say it. To get 5 guys in the NBA, if 5 guys are playing like this, I hit you with that, not much damage. I hit you with this. I got 5 guys playing like this, going to do more damage. They're not playing like this just yet. No. And then they really should be. It's just the same starting unit, just put in Struss, but you get your core is the same. Mobley, Allen, Garland, and Mitchell. So waiting for this team to turn it around and get better. But right now, that line 4 is what I think it should be.
We have Grizzlies at the Pistons. Really gross game here. Grizzlies coming off a loss at Phoenix. They're 2-1, 3-0 against the spread. Their last 3. Detroit coming off that loss there to the Cavs. They did cover on the number. They've now lost 17 in a row, 5-11-1 against the spread. Grizzlies had some success in this matchup, winning the last 4 meetings. Completely different Grizzlies team, though. This is I'm going to say this. This is a spot for the Pistons. I lean to Detroit in this game. I do not want to be backing a team that's lost 17 in a row, not catching many points. But if you look at their schedule coming up after this, Orlando, Indiana, Philly, Bucks, Hawks. I mean, it's just a really tough schedule. They don't really have a quote-unquote winnable game for a while after this. This is one they can get one. They've had the extended time off with the in-season tournament, everything else, couple of extra days to get up for a winnable game at home. I forget who I saw made the take, but they said if the Pistons find a way to win this game, then the crowd should storm the court. So we'll see how much they want this one in Detroit, but my leans to the Pistons in this one.
I could never say those words. I lean to a team that's dropped 17 in a row, especially Memphis has had a good history with them. Memphis is playing decent basketball on the road. On the road now, 4-6, 5-5 against the spread. I think the line is a fair number. Maybe a hair high. Maybe I'm like 1.5 on this game. We'll see if Bogdanovich gets a little better now. He had his first game back, looked okay. That Cunningham, you just look at this Piston lineup. They're better than this, man. They can't be this bad looking at that group together. Now, especially, like it says, Bogdanovich, who was last year's leading scorer, back. What did he get? Like 22 in his first game back. Cunningham, 23, 8 and 11. So expect Detroit to do better than this, but you are who you are. They're just not getting it done. So, yeah, I'm not jumping out to take +2 with a team that's dropped 17 straight. I'll lay off this game unless there's a major change in the line or we see something with the lineups tonight.
Yeah, Grizzlies also do get the first place Timberwolves next. Don't know how much they're looking into that. Obviously, they had a playoff series a couple years back that was a little bit heated. We'll see. Next matchup, 76ers going on to Washington. And Philly coming off a pretty good game against Boston, all considered. No Maxey, no Embiid. They still hung within the number, gave them a good fight. They've been decent on the road, 6-3 against the spread. This Wizards team is absolutely miserable at home, 1-6 straight up and against the spread. Can't back them in this matchup. 76ers have had their way. Worth a look at the over in this matchup. A lot of over trends for the last 5 meetings. 76ers last 4, Wizards last 2. We've seen big men eat against Washington Wizards this year. We saw Giannis with a 20 for 23 game against them. They just have no interior presence defensively. Embiid has averaged 43 points his last 3 games versus the Wizards. Could be worth a look at his prop today. Just big men eating in this matchup.
Yeah, Wash. All they've done in the last 12 games was get 1 win. Who the hell did they get that one? Against Detroit, the team that's lost 17 straight. Really nothing to do here with Wizards. Poole, who's been a nightmare at Washington. Not only his play, what did he go? Poole, his last game, 3 for 12. He's going to be questionable anyway, but 3 for 12. He's been a nightmare. His character over there, everything just terrible. But this team is a disaster right now. Philly, they're going to get everybody back. So Maxey, they had a little bug running through the team. Embiid missed 2 games. Maxey missed the last one. Batum missed a couple of games. That I don't believe was to the illness though. And you got Kelly Oubre Jr., who got hit by a car earlier in the month. He's practiced the last few days. He's expected back. Everybody back for Philly. So maybe a little rusty to begin with the first quarter or so. Here's one of these games, guys. You if you're looking at games, I don't do these first halves, but you might think this team might to get it incorporated all back on the court for the first time. A big number. Maybe Wash gets off to a decent start. I'm more so going to think, hey, if Wash keeps this close, Philly will get them by the second half. But we'll see how this game materializes. Philly gets a lot of bodies back. The game that they played close at Boston, just throw that out. No Embiid, no Maxey. Boston had the in-season tournament playoffs to look ahead to. It was a game this is what we call a look-ahead game. And they just looked right past that game. So I'm not going to give them any credit for that. We'll see what they look like getting back. I've got Philly, the 3rd best team in the East behind Boston and Milwaukee. Washington, one of the worst down there with Charlotte and Detroit. So we'll see how this one unfolds, but maybe a little rust in the beginning, getting all these guys back on the court for the first time together.
Then we're going to have the Nets at the Hawks. Nets coming off that big win against the red-hot Orlando Magic. They're now 5-2 against the spread on the road this season. Hawks coming off a high-scoring loss against the Bucks. They allowed them to shoot 60% in that one. Milwaukee shooting lights out these last couple of games. We'll see if they continue to figure that out. I mean, this game really comes down to 2 stats for me. The Nets are the NBA best, 14-4-1 against the spread. The Hawks are NBA worst, 5-14 against the spread. You're getting points with the team who's the best record against the spread, or you're laying points with the team who's the worst record against the spread. Not too hard to decide from there. It'd be Brooklyn or nobody for me. Coming off a couple of tight games with Atlanta, including an overtime loss earlier this season. Could be another tight one that they want revenge in.
Yeah, they were just there a couple of weeks ago, and we had the Nets in that one. Hawks were coming off that back-to-back at that amazingly pace with the Pacers.
Yep.
And Nets had 3 days off. Just that was a schedule spot. This game, they're coming back, got a little revenge. Last 3 trips into Atlanta, all 3 games have been decided by a total of 5 points. Nets covering 2 of the 3. This will be another close one. I expect the Nets to take this one. Just as Ben said, getting the job done, covering the spread and covering at home, covering on the road where Atlanta just not covering at home. They're still working their stuff out. I like the Nets in this one. We bet this one right out of Jump Street, plus 4.5. Bet this 2 days ago. 3-unit bet. This game down to 3.5. Mostly 3.5, some 4s, depending on your book.
Then we have the Spurs at the T-Wolves. Spurs coming off a loss at the Pelicans in New Orleans there. They shot 41% from 3. And the good news, no Wembanyama. He's going to be back. They've now lost 14 in a row. Then you have Minnesota coming off a nice come-from-behind win against Charlotte. Edwards, he's missed last couple of games, questionable. Wait and see what we have going on with him. Tough to back the Spurs here. 1, Minnesota matches up well with the size of Collins and Wembanyama. 2, what the Wolves are doing at home, just ridiculous. 9-1, 7-1, 2 against the spread. Big number here. Would only be interested in laying it if Edwards was involved. If no Edwards here, it's just a stay away game for me.
Yeah, that's pretty much the story right there. San Antonio, another one of these teams that's just been absolutely horrible. 14 straight losses. I've said this from the beginning. When this kid Wembanyama probably be a superstar one day, just not yet. Same old San Antonio Spurs. 14 straight losses, 4-10 against the spread. We actually had the Spurs the last time these 2 teams played. We were down big, but we took it. We took that W by a hook. We had 7.5. The game landed 117-110. This could be the similar thing here. They split 4 meetings last year. This could be a game that they just get in that back door with a big number if Edwards is playing. I don't see the value in it. This one on the road, Minnesota has been fantastic at home. Take away that Sacramento game. But, not interested in this one. My number, if Edwards is in, is 13. The game is sitting at 12, some 12.5. So not enough of an edge.
Then we have Heat at Toronto. Miami coming off a loss to the Pacers. They split 2 games with them. Actually lost the game. Halliburton didn't play. They allowed them to shoot 66% in that one. Adebayo, he's going to miss his 2nd game in a row. Then you have this Raptors team coming off a loss to the Knicks. They couldn't shoot the ball for their life. 19% from 3 in that game. But they've been great in this matchup. 5-2, 6-1 against the spread in the last 7 meetings. Toronto have been pretty solid at home. Obviously dropped that last game there against the Knicks. But just in general, over the last couple of weeks, they've been covering 7-2 against the spread. Miami, you start adding up the bodies they're missing. Hero and Adebayo, it's not only just 2 of your best players, but just guys getting minutes. And then you add in the depth they lost in the offseason. It's just a completely different Miami roster right now. Not enough guys in there for what they used to be.
So this is simple. Not often do guys make mistakes, but when they do, we're there to pounce on them. And they made a mistake, just plain and simple. This line opened at 1. They opened this line with the impression that the Miami Heat would be at full strength, with not full strength because they know Hero's not going to play, but Bam Adebayo would play. We knew ahead of time Bam Adebayo's he wasn't even making the trip to Toronto. No. So, as I wrote in my preview, without Bam, Miami is 4 points worse on the road than Toronto is at home, and it's just that simple. Not 1. If anything, you got to give the edge to Toronto. 5-2, 6-1 against the spread. Last 7, winning both in Toronto last year by an average of 11 points. So this was a mistake. The line right now is sitting at 3.5. My line with Bam out is Toronto 4. We took advantage of the 1. Again, now if you're seeing this now, guys, you're not a member. There's no edge laying 3.5. The edge was laying 1. We robbed the number. They made a mistake. Not often happens, but it does happen. And that's why you're there. Consistency every day, every day, every day. So Raptors -1. This was a no-brainer.
And we have the Hornets at the Bulls. This Charlotte team coming off a tough loss there to Minnesota. They had the lead late, let it slip. They're now just 3-7. Their last 10. You have this Bulls team playing a bit better the last couple of games and pretty good wins too. Milwaukee and New Orleans, a couple of teams moving on in this in-season tournament. And the caveat here is it's without Zach LaVine. So that's a big thing. We all know all the drama, all the rumors, all the locker room issues going on with this team. Sometimes players make a team worse despite the numbers they put up. I mean, for example, to compare a guy like Cam Thomas at Brooklyn, if you guys go look at Cam Thomas's numbers, the more points he scores, 25-point games, 30-point games, 35-point games, 40-point games, etc., the worse the record is of the Brooklyn Nets. And sometimes certain players just have that effect. Maybe Zach LaVine is a little bit of that, getting his points but not playing winning basketball. And then you add in all the locker room drama around it. Bulls, a little bit of momentum right now. They have had success in this matchup. I lean Chicago in this game.
Yeah, you've also got Williams, the center. He's going to be questionable for Charlotte. Charlotte lost a lot when they lost Bull the other day. Yep. He's going to be out for some time. As Ben said, addition by subtraction. LaVine goes out, and they start playing winning basketball. 2 huge wins. 2 huge. I mean, over Milwaukee, a team that usually handles them, taking them down. That was without DeRozan also. And then they go on and take another win against the Pelicans. They've won 8 of the 10 meetings, 8 of the last 10 meetings, so they've got that going for them too. I just think the number is a fair number where it is now. More 4.5 and more 5. That would be my number with Williams out. So I think it's a fair number. Charlotte, for as pitiful as they are at home, they do play some better ball on the road. I've got barely any difference from their home to their road rating. So I think it's a fair number. We'll see what Williams is. Don't kid yourself. Williams is a nice little piece. He boards for them. And this isn't a deep team with him out. You're probably sticking P.J. Washington at the center. So we'll see what that injury looks like. But right now, if Williams does play, this is a tinge too high for me, even though Chicago's played good basketball. Look, still looking to get rid of DeRozan and LaVine. And as I said a while back, there's actually more calls on Caruso than there are DeRozan and LaVine. So we'll see how that all breaks down. But, yeah, not interested in this one.
Yeah, it could be a night for Vucevic props. Typically, big men have success against Charlotte. That's just been going on for 6, 7, 8 years now. And no Williams going to cause problems. You mentioned that. PJ playing some centers. We'll see what goes on there. Thunder at Houston. This is an exciting game. A couple of young teams right now causing some problems. You have OKC, who is NBA best, 7-2, 7-1-1 against the spread on the road. Houston, their last 8 at home, 8-0, 7-1 against the spread. So something's going to have to budge in this one. OKC coming off a nice win there against Dallas. They shot 46% from 3. Then you have this Rockets team. They go 0-3 on the trip, 1-2 against the spread, but that's just been the splits with them this season. Can't win on the road, and they're now winning 8 in a row at home. We'll see if that continues. Home team won both meetings last year, and pretty handedly at that. So a couple of your better ATS teams, one catching points at home, John.
Yeah, great road team, great home team, but the road team has dominated this series. OKC's lost 8 of the last 9 trips into Houston, 2-7 against the spread. We're catching a couple of points here, 2.5 points. Yeah, I took the Rockets in this one. The team is, as Ben said, they've won their last 8 home games, 7-1 against the spread. Hey, if I'm catching points with a team like that, and they've had the history. Now, I know OKC's been a better team, but last year they were still a much better team than the Rockets. They made the play-in, and Rockets still swept the series in Houston. So I'm on Houston plus 2.5 in this one.
Then we have Jazz going on to Dallas. Clarkson, Olynyk, and Markkanen all remain out for Utah, shorthanded. Dallas coming off a game where Luka went crazy, 36, 15, and 18, and that loss to OKC went crazy because of Irving and Hardaway. Both did not play. They're probable tonight. No Green, though, and got to see what's going on with Grant Williams. So a couple of banged-up rosters coming into this one. Mavs won 3 or 4 meetings last year. Jazzo covered both in Dallas. So weird matchup, shorthanded teams. With how shorthanded Utah is, could only be interested in Dallas here. A little bit of a get-right spot. Just tough to lay this number with the team who typically doesn't cover at home.
They typically don't cover at home, and even though they've won 7 of the last 8 meetings at home, only 5-3 against the spread. As you said, just tough to lay double digits with Dallas as a home favorite. Worst against the spread record at home last year, and not doing. But Utah, terrible on the road.
Yep.
So no reason to back Utah in this. Yep. They'll be missing their top 2 scorers. And Olenek, a backup big man. So not interested in this one. Green's going to be out for a while. Williams, questionable for Dallas. They should have everybody else. They should put up numbers. Just when we talk about it a lot, these double-digit favorites. You're a home double-digit favorite. You're up that 15 or so. Maybe you get some rest. And when you're short a couple of guys, who else is going to score for you besides Kyrie and Luka? So 10 points, right about the right number. No interest in a decimated Utah Jazz team.
Then we had the Blazers wrapping up a 5-game trip up in Golden State. They're 2-2 on the trip, playing pretty good ball right now, 4-1 against the spread their last 5. You have Simons, who hasn't played since opening night. He might be coming back tonight. That could be a big addition. Still no Ayton, still no Grant. Those 2 guys going to be out. So Portland playing pretty good ball, but really banged up, coming in on the back end of a road trip. Golden State, they've been playing a little bit better, 1-2 straight up, but 3-0 against the spread their last 3. Not really covering numbers at home, so it makes it tough to lay the double digits, but they've had success in this matchup, winning the last 5 in Golden State by an average 12.8 points. Look at the line, looking at about a 12.5, so that's where you get that a little bit. Banged up Portland last game of a trip. Lean here is Golden State. But that's a lot of points to lay with the team 2-8 against the spread at home.
A lot of points. This would have been Portland or nobody for me. They're just hanging in there. They fought Utah to overtime. Yep. They had a couple of one or 2 of the games as double-digit dogs at Cleveland, and where else? At Cleveland. They had Milwaukee. They blew a 20-something point lead at Milwaukee, but they fought. They're fighting tough, but without 2 big guys, Ayton and Grant, going to be tough. Although if you're going to not have your big men, this is the team you want to do it against. Golden State, not a big man team. Besides the fact this is last game of the trip. Does Simons come back? If Simons, got to remember, been out since the first game of the season. He's been out since then. So if he comes back, he's going to be rusty. He's going to be limited. But I circled this game because Golden State can't cover at home. I mean, they hardly win at home, but especially cover. What would not have laid double digits with them was Portland and nobody due to the injuries. I'll just lay off this one.
And now we have the Nuggets at the Clippers. What a weird game to try to handicap on this one. You have the Nuggets coming off a loss at Sacramento on Saturday. Jokic was phenomenal, but the shots is 24% from 3. Murray, he's questionable, missed the last couple of games. Denver, it's not going to get done on the road. Below 500, they're 3-9 against the spread. And the Clippers, they rallied. They were down big against Golden State. They come back. That's one thing I forgot to mention with Golden State also. 2 of their last 3 losses there. Kings and Clippers 20-point blown leads. I imagine they want to get one of those and hold on against Portland tonight. We'll see if they do. But as far as this game, Nuggets-Clippers, Nuggets own the matchup. They won the last trip to LA without Jokic, Gordon, and Murray, and that's where it gets a little bit weird. They're not covering on the road. They dominate this matchup. They dominate in LA, 9-1, 8-2 against the spread the last 10 trips here. But are the Clippers playing a little bit better basketball? Last game, the big 3, Kawhi, Harden, PG, 20 points apiece, 6+ assist seats. I mean, that's what you want from these 3, all getting involved scoring, all getting involved facilitating. And you got to think they come with revenge after being embarrassed losing to this team, missing all the stars. So can't break the ownership. Spot is the Clippers. Can't get involved.
Here's where we say, guys, there's that fine line between revenge and ownership. Well, there's no fine line here. It's a fucking ownership. Yep. But we said it the last time, if me, Ben, and 3 of you guys just write Nuggets on our shirt, we'll beat the Clippers. 8 straight they've beaten them now. 9 of the last 10 in LA. No way in the world am I bucking that trend. Clippers have been weird, as Ben said. fighting all the way back from that loss against Gold State to get a W. So does that rally the troops? It may, but may not against Denver. Murray. So Murray had that long absence. He comes back. He plays one game. Has now missed the next two. This looks just like, it's going to be the story of this kid's career. This team is so much better with him, but they can still get it done without him. He's a legitimate question mark. Now they've had a few days off. We'll have to see. He adds 2.5 points to the team, to the value of the team. Will he add that tonight, his first game back again? How much will he play? So he played 22 minutes, I believe, in the first game back after not playing for so long, missed the last two. I wouldn't expect him to be worth that 2.5 points tonight, even if he does play. But no way do I want the Clippers in an ownership spot like this. Yep. We'll keep an eye on the lineups, though. Who knows where the lines go and what the lineups say later. Maybe there's a find somewhere during that. Besides our 3 games that we've already bet pre, we'll be keeping an eye, as we do every night. And if we feel that there's a spot, we'll jump on it.
Yeah, if you guys want those later added bets or any updates on injury news, some key players questionable going today, you guys know to sign up on massaedge.com or download the app. Small Thursday card tomorrow. We'll be back for the most disgusting football game of the year to break that down for you guys. And we have 2 big in-season tournament games tomorrow, John. Excited for these matchups. We might have 400 points between the Bucks and the Pacers.
Wow. I could never bet over 254.5, but this might be the only game you can. I looked at this, the season history. The last 6 meetings have gone over in this game at an average of 261.2.
Yep. Bucks
last 4 have gone over an average of 249.8. And we know what the Pacers have done. I believe I'm going to say it's 16-3 now to the over for the season. So it's been insane. It's over or nothing. We have a bet in this game. Tune in tomorrow if you want to hear it. The line's already moved, though. If you want all the lines, guys, before they move. And again, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I want to beat the numbers. That's what I want to do, and that's what we do every day. Beat the numbers every day. That has to turn around. You can't reinvent math to say if the line goes this way, you're going to lose continuously. It can't happen that way. Every number is going to have to fall at some point. We're going to catch the numbers that fall by beating a number. Again, 3 games today, beat the line all 3 games. 1 game for tomorrow, that line is moved a point. This is what we do. I don't sound like a salesman. I would join if I was you. I'm getting ready to crush this NBA.
Yep, guys, things are about to heat up. For those of you guys who have joined on the cold streak, stick around for the heater. And those of you guys who've been watching on the sidelines the last couple of months, not a better time to sign up before all those winners come our way. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you guys check out the app and the website. Like, comment, subscribe below. Let's make some money, John.
Let's make some money.